Now, talking about the second type of geoplots is a choropleth map. It's a thematic map in which areas such as countries, states, or regions are shaded or patterned in proportion to the value of a variable being represented. In the dot plot, it was only a dot was represented, and to represent the different parameters, color was selected. Whereas here, uh, the region is being shaded depending on the proportion of the value of a variable being presented. The shading or coloring is based on predefined ranges or intervals of the variables, and this allows users to visually compare values across different geographic areas. So this talks about the shading the area, and the shading uh, or coloring is based on predefined ranges or intervals of the variable. The key features: geographic areas, color or shading, legend, and data classification. So it's mainly useful for classifying. So the common use cases of choropleth map is visualizing demographic data such as population density, income levels, or education attainments by geographic area. So if we are interested in identifying the population variation from one region to other region, or the income levels of the population at every location, or the education attained, and all this, if we are interested to compare in a geographic area, then this map will be useful. Mapping spatial distributions of environmental variables such as temperature, rainfall, or population pollution levels are easier when it comes to using this map. So it will be useful while representing the election results or voting patterns or political references across different regions. These are commonly used. So the mapping of environmental variables, usually we see this in the weather report, and during the election period, this results patterns and preferences of the voters and all that, the wave and all that are represented usually through this map. So it becomes easier for communicating the patterns or trends in economic indicators such as GDP per capita, unemployment rates, or poverty levels. So if you want to discuss on this, it will be easier if we use this type of map. So to make maximum use of this, so some best practices is choose an appropriate color scheme that effectively communicates the patterns in the data and is accessible to viewers with color vision deficiency. So some people may have color blindness, they may not be able to see the red part of the color. So to make sure that every audience is equally understanding our information, so we can use the color scheme such that even color blinds also can differentiate what different regions are trying to tell, and that will finally convey what information we want to convey to them. Select appropriate classification method for the data such as equal intervals, quantities, or natural breaks to ensure that the map accurately represents the distribution of values. So must provide clear and concise labels for geographic areas and include titles, descriptive captions to provide context and clarify the meaning of the map. Must use additional visual elements such as borders, labels, inset maps to provide proper geographic context and help viewers to interpret the data. So must be mindful of potential biases or distortions introduced by the choice of map projection or data classification method. So there is a possibility that the classifier used to identify these patterns and all may create some errors, and so there may be distortions or bias while classifying by the classifiers, so it may create some problems. So we must be careful in deciding these issues. So here is an example. It talks about the number of COVID-19 cases all across the world. So country wise it is being represented most of the time, or region wise you can say, and the shades are given different darkness. So it starts from the light color to the darkest. So light one represents a small number and dark one represents a large number, and a change from light to dark keeps changing the values, keep in the increasing order, so that's shown in the legend. And we can see what this situation is on talking about. So the countries like China, France, UK, and some part of the Middle East, US, Alaska are primarily affected because they are shown in a very dark color, and some are moderately affected because they are shown in the medium color, and very few are totally unaffected. So we can see the most of the Africa is unaffected, and most of the uh, Greenland is unaffected. So that way, so this one picture will give the total information all about whatever we want to convey, the whole world information. Here we are not presenting them in terms of dots. Here we are coloring each region. So the next level could be it can get into the continent wise, and then when it comes to continent wise, we may make it clear boundaries for the countries, or country wise if you take, then the boundaries of each state can be put, and the color for each state can be appropriately shaded so that we can understand what we are trying to convey. So that's about a choropleth map.